Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to our ISKCON official YouTube channel. Today I am going to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, 17th chapter, text 10 onwards. This is regarding Saubhari Muni's course on Garuda. Minan Sudkitan Društva Dinan Minapato Hate Kripaya Saubhari Praha Tatratya Khimam Acharan. That means, seeing how unfortunate fish in the lake had become most unhappy at the death of their leader, Saubhari uttered the following course under the impression that he was mercifully acting for the benefit of the lake's residents. The purport and disciples of Srila Prabhupada Maharaj, quoting from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, explain that when our so-called compassion doesn't tally with the order of the Supreme Lord, it merely causes a disturbance. Because Saubhari had forbidden Garuda's coming to that lake, Kaliya moved in and made his headquarters there, and this spelled doom for all the lake's residents. Not only fishes, so many varieties of living entities are there. It stated Jaladana Palakyani. All of them became doom. So, Srila Jiva Goswami Laghu Vaishnava Toshan says that the sage made another offense. That is explained in 2 verses. The fish were wretched because they couldn't do anything, being fish. He saw the fish especially grieving because their protector fish had been eaten. This indicates he recognized that fish is a special position. The locative case indicates that the fish had great fear of Garuda. Some versions had Dina. This indicates that the sage was without intelligence because of arrogant behavior towards a great associate of the Lord. So in verse 11 it is said that Atra Pravisya Garudo Jadi Matsyan Sakhadati Sadhya Prani Vimujyeta Satyam Etat Bravimiham. This is the course. If Garuda ever again enters this lake and eats the fish here, he will immediately lose his life. What I am saying is the truth. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada Maharaj disciples say that the Acharya explained in this regard that because of Saubhari Muni's material attachment and affection for a fish, he failed to see the situation from the spiritual viewpoint. The 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam describes his fall down for this offense. Because of false pride, Saubhari Muni lost his power of austerity and with it his spiritual beauty and happiness. When Garuda came to the Jamuna, Saubhari Muni thought, although he may be a personal associate of the Supreme Lord, I will still curse him and even kill him if he disobeys my order. Such an offensive attitude against an exalted Vaishnava will certainly destroy one's auspicious position in life. As the 9th canto describes, Saubhari Muni married many beautiful women and suffered greatly in their association. But because he had once become glorious by taking shelter of the Jamuna river in Sri Vrindavan, he was ultimately delivered. 50 girls, 50 daughters of Mandhata he married. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the purport says, the statement, if Garuda enters this lake and eats the fish, he will immediately die, means that if Garuda entered the lake but didn't eat fish, he would not die immediately, but slowly. Whereas if he ate the fish, he would die immediately. Being omniscient, Garuda understood that Saubhari had made this course, and thus he avoided this lake. Kaliya had heard this story from his relatives residing in that lake. Therefore, he took shelter there. Due to his bad association with the fish, Saubhari Muni developed attachment and affection, lost his power of discrimination, and caused an exalted devotee of the Lord Vishnu. The ninth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam describes that. Already Srila Prabhupada Maharaj's disciples have stated that, so I did not have to tell it again. So, the next verse, that is verse 12. Tat karyaha param veda nanyaha kaschana leliha avasid garudad bitaha krishnena cha vivasitaha. That means of all the serpents, only Kaliya came to know of this affair, and in fear of Garuda, he took up residence in that Jamuna lake. Later, Lord Krishna drove him out, as we have heard in the last chapter, 16th chapter. So, Srila Jiva Goswami in Logha Vaishnava Darshan says that only Kaliya knew of this incident. He lived there because of looking for a safe place everywhere out of fear of Garuda's enmity, and because of hundreds of blessings in previous lives, he was expelled by Krishna, who produces all bliss. So we'll see from 13 to 19, these 7 verses, Krishna's reunion with the Brajavasis. So in verse 13 and 14 it is said that Krishnam Hradat Viniskrantam Divya Sraggandha Vasasam Mahamani Ganakiranam Jambunada Pariskritam Upalabhyotita Sarve Labdha Prana Eva Shravaha Pramoda Nibhritatmano Gopa Pritya Vire Vire. How bliss is there, how much bliss. So, resuming his description of Krishna's chastisement of Kaliya, Sukadeva Goswami continued, Krishna rose up out of the lake wearing divine garlands, fragrance, and garments covered with many fine jewels and decorated with gold. When the cowherds saw him, they all stood up immediately, just like an unconscious person's senses coming back to life. Filled with great joy, they affectionately embraced him. So in the purport, Srila Vishwanath Gaura says, after completing the story, Sukadeva Goswami returns to this main story. This verse indicates that Krishna came out of the lake in a special way. Krishna was kicking his feet in the water and, unseen by others, placing his feet upon the heads of other serpents in the water. They had been ordered to serve Krishna by Kaliya. If this were not so, Krishna's whole body would have again become wet. The description of Krishna's wearing divine flower garlands and fresh cloth would not be appropriate. The boys regained their sense perception just like a dying man regaining his vital force. Their minds were filled with bliss. Pramoda Nivrata Atmana. Gopa here refers to Krishna's cowherd boyfriends, not the cowherd men. Because of natural unsteadiness, the boys would have embraced Krishna before the elders. So, Siva Sanatana Goswami says in Brihad Vaishnava Tosani that Krishna means Sham Sundara, or he who was the life of the people of Braja. He rose from the water in a special way, Viniskrantam. He is described with 3 phrases. He was decorated with attractive gold, Jambunadam. Having him approach Upalabhya, they stood up. Previously they had fallen on the ground fainting. When his fragrance entered their nostrils, they recovered their consciousness. They rose suddenly from the ground or woke up from fainting. Because they had fainted, they didn't see him in his dancing with attractive music. Thus, they do not speak about it later. How could they all regain consciousness at the same time? They got up like life airs rising. The cowherds, generally elder males, embraced Krishna many times, avire avire, since Jasoda and others regained consciousness later. In this way, we'll describe further. So thank you very much for listening to this lecture, and please don't forget to subscribe, share and like our channel and get the blessings of the Lord. Hare Krishna.